Hello and welcome. We're Femme Noir. This show is all about women, specifically in film. We are going to review and analyze movies that are written by, directed by, or starring women, and we can't wait for you to join us. Tune in and listen wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to Femme Noir. I'm Serena, and today I'm super excited because we've added another co-host to the podcast. So today, you guys are going to be hearing from a very good friend of mine and fellow cinephile, Whitney.
Hello. I am so excited to be here. I've been listening to this since the beginning, so now to be on it is just freaking amazing.
True fan.
Yes, truly. But a little bit about me. I went to film school, like most people.
Most people, LOL.
Most people that I know. I am a screenwriter producer, so when I talk about movies, you'll probably hear me talking a lot about the plot, behind the scene things, budgets, what it would take to get something made, stuff like that. All the behind the scenes camera stuff. That's the stuff that I'm interested in, and that I'll probably like look up just because I have to know how they did something.
Yeah. Which is awesome because I feel like I definitely talk about like the plot and like writing and stuff, but I'm definitely more intrigued on like directing styles and like acting and all that stuff. So I feel like I talk a little bit more about like that and like cinematography a lot.
If it's
what are people
bad,
doing?
I'll talk
How do
about
they fit
that.
their character.
See, if it's good, then I tend not to notice it because it's doing its job. Directing, cinematography, acting. But if it's bad and it stands out and it's pulling me away from the things that I like, that's when I notice it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, I'm always like really shocked when I actually like notice something. I'm like, wow, the sound design is so good. And then I'm like, wait, why did I notice that? Because like you're not supposed to. But then at the same time, you're also just like, but that was really good though.
Sometimes
like I'm so glad I studied
this
so that I could know that.
Yeah.
Yay, my degree has given me some form of self-fulfillment. So funny. All right, so I'm excited because this is a movie I think that both of us have, like, we watched not for the reasons of it being the action movie or Predator related. So there's been 7 Predator movies. Because we've got Predator, and that one was the one with was it like Arnold Schwarzenegger? It was like in the 80s.
Yeah, so you had the original Predator, 1987, with I'm pretty sure it's Schwarzenegger. I've not seen any of these movies. Then you've got Predator 2, Predators with an S, because who needs a 3?
There's more.
The Predator, because once again, who needs a 4?
The Predator, was that the one that came out? Oh, that was the one that came out in 2018, The Predator.
Yes.
That's the one with like Keegan. Keegan Michael Key.
If you say so.
And I think the one guy from Moonlight, the main guy from Moonlight.
Then they've got the 2 crossovers, Alien vs. Predator, Aliens vs. Predator, Requiem. You've got the comics, you've got video games, and apparently they've got numerous novels, because who just doesn't want more Predator?
Is Predator not also an alien?
Like different aliens. So the aliens.
It's a different type of alien.
Yeah, different type of alien. Aliens.
Oh, because aliens was the one Xeno something or whatever.
Aliens are the chest bursters, the face huggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that pretty much everyone grows up with. As like, I want to say it's like their first horror movie. And
Probably.
yeah, because it now I feel like it'd be more of it'd be labeled more as a thriller than a horror.
Yeah.
But Alien with Sigourney Weaver is
Love.
yes.
That it. Oh, God.
Is fairly
Still so much fun.
Yeah, they're fairly different than these guys because I think like it feels like Alien is mostly about reproduction and this is just about hunting.
Hunting?
Yeah. Once again, I haven't seen The Predators, but this is going off of word of mouth, what everybody says.
Yeah. No, yeah, because no, yeah, that makes sense. I would probably have to say that I am probably more of an Alien fan than Predator.
I've seen the first 3 Aliens.
I know I've seen them all, but I don't remember them all.
That's fair.
Like, I just remember the most recent. Well, because we just watched Prey. But I just remember the last, like, the one that came out in 2018. Predators? The Predator? I don't remember.
Yeah, that one. The Predator. Number 4.
That one was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I remember sitting there being, like, watching the movie and being like, this is so dumb. Like, I was taken completely out of the film. And I was like, this is dumb. I watched the whole thing, too. And I was like, really?
Yeah. So honestly, that's probably the movie that made me not want to watch any of the Predators. Because I'm not a horror fan. I hate horror. I am a big old scaredy cat. I don't like being scared.
I love horror.
I hate it. And so people are always talking about like, oh, it's an action movie. I'm like, okay, but do you get scared? And they're like, well, yeah, the alien's scary. I'm like, then I don't want to watch it. But
the alien's scary. LOL.
I mean, most of the time, like when I was asking people this, it was some guy trying to be impressive, essentially. Like, oh, I watch.
Yeah, I was like, the only people that have talked about Predators to me have been guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they will explain the whole lore of the Predator movies, and I'm just like, bro.
That's true.
I literally don't care.
That is so true. Oh my god.
Like, I have never had another woman talk to me about Predator. I've never talked about Predator until right now.
I don't think I have either. I think and to be fair, like the first person who I heard mention Prey was a woman. So.
Yeah. How did you hear about Prey?
TikTok. That's how I hear about movies. Everything I hear about is pretty much TikTok.
Oh, nice.
Or some type of spam email. Because I'm signed up for so many different typically screenwriting emails, so I'll get invited to script breakdowns, and so if like a sequel is coming out, they'll do a script breakdown of the first movie, or if it was just released like Top Gun 2 and it did really, really well, then they'll do a script breakdown of both the first and the second.
Nice.
So they'll also send out random emails that list movies that are coming out, or I'll get like Hulu and Netflix or HBO saying like, "Hey, we're gonna release these movies this month." So that's how I hear about my movies, is through spam emails and TikTok.
It's okay. I pretty much get all mine from like Instagram. Or, like, in the theater.
I don't...
like, those are the two places.
I don't know what it is about Instagram and movies, but anytime I see something on Instagram related to a movie, I immediately don't want to know about it. For absolutely no reason.
That's so funny.
For absolutely no reason. If I'm on Instagram, it's not because I'm interested in anything movies. It's probably because I'm doom scrolling.
Ah, that makes sense. No, I go on Instagram specifically to be updated about pop culture things. I'm like, I follow all the news people, all the like publicists, journalists, whatever. And then I also follow like all of the like critics, like, or not all of them, but as many as I like want to follow.
Mm-hmm.
As, you know, like a normal person.
Yeah. Occasionally.
Like, I don't know why, but that is...
Yeah. Occasionally, I do go old school. Word of mouth. I'll watch movies because of word of mouth. This one,
yeah,
I watched.
I will too.
Because you recommended it. Like, I saw a lot of good stuff on TikTok about it, but because I hadn't seen any of the Predators, and I wasn't interested, I figured, oh, you know, not my type of movie. But then I'm glad I did watch this one. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I was surprised because, like, I think I saw it on Hulu as like a trailer or something. Like, I didn't even know that it was a Predator movie. Like, I just saw Prey, and then I saw an indigenous woman fighting something, and I was like, oh no. That was my immediate thought. And then I saw I follow some other people that give like updates on movies that are like they give updates on films that like are coming out or have just come out,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like box office reviews and stuff, but specifically movies that are like kind of groundbreaking for like diversity and inclusion and stuff. And so they were like, dude, Prey is one of the first like action movies ever to have like an all indigenous like cast and an indigenous producer, and like they actually did their research. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, I'd watch it just for that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what I watched it for, was because I was like, yeah, that's dope.
So just speaking of, because it is about an indigenous tribe and they wanted to make it as accurate as possible. One of the things that
Mhm.
I actually really liked about this film was the buffalo scene. When she comes across the field of dead buffalo and they're just skinned and everything else is just kind of left there. I immediately remembered this. I think it was like a firsthand account that someone had written down from an indigenous person regarding, you know, why they hated white people, rightfully so. And it was almost like word for word what had happened in that scene was they had just come across this field of bloody buffalo and just the skin was gone. Mm-hmm. They had done nothing with it. They were just left there to rot. It was all wasted. They didn't care for the life that they had just taken. And it was just for, I think with this account, it was for sport hunting, essentially. Like, not even for, like, the pelts.
That literally makes me so angry. Like, I was so mad in that scene, but even just, like, every time I think about it, I'm just like, jeez. Literally, freaking colonizers, man.
Yeah, so they definitely did their homework. They definitely did it right. So I'm really proud of the fact that we got to see this and it wasn't buried. Like I feel like a lot of movies like this can be.
Yeah, like I know they had a little bit of an issue with it because they shot it to be a theatrical release, to be like released in theaters, but it ended up being streaming only.
Do you know why?
Which kind of sucks. But like at least Hulu was like good about marketing it.
Yeah.
And like they actually like it's the first thing you see on Hulu, and they like direct you to it like in as many pages as possible as far as like user, like as you're using their apps and whatnot. So that was like maybe the only like of course they wouldn't put it in theaters, like come on guys, really?
Yeah. Do you know
They could have, like I don't understand what it would be like. They're like, oh yeah, well if we stream it, then like it gets into more households and it's like easily accessible, and it's like, dude, it's gonna go to streaming platforms either way.
Yeah.
Like if you put it in theaters at some point, it will, and it's like you don't even have to wait that long anymore.
No, yeah, a lot of that
like,
is changing because of the pandemic. But is that really why they didn't do the theatrical release? They just wanted to recoup essentially their profits faster?
Probably, yeah. Because apparently the director, he had like a really small budget for this. And you can kind of tell a little bit just like based off of like you don't see the Predator guy until like he kills the bear and the blood's pouring all over him. Like you don't see his full form until then. And also, why did this Predator look just like a guy?
Because he was.
Like, I feel like all the other Predators look a little, like, more alien-esque, and this guy was just kind of, like, a big dude.
First of all, he was. So what happened was...
Yeah, why was he so muscular?
So what happened was I watched Prey, and then because the universe loves coincidences, and I'm sure our devices are listening to us, on TikTok, I started getting a lot of Prey videos and movie reviews, and one of the ones that came up I was actually just truly fascinated with was a behind the scenes of the guy in the Predator suit, and they showed the director blocking him on set and having him do a couple different things so that when the cameras were rolling, they'd know exactly what he wanted to do. And he's like he's actually taking off that helmet piece. His mandibles are like actually moving. Like that's not CGI. I don't know how they did that, but that was fascinating.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, and that's really all it is. And then there was one where he like actually spun the axe and caught it. So a lot of the stuff that he's doing really is just this actor. And part of the reason that he does look more normal, so I had to write this down. Well, I looked it up because they mentioned in the movie, and then I couldn't remember, so then I had to write it down. But the actor, his name is Dane DeLigro. He's 6'9", which is already insanely tall. But the reason that he looks more human, in my opinion, is because he's 5.5 inches shorter. So he's almost a half foot shorter than their original Predator, who was 7 feet 2.5 inches.
My goodness.
So he looks more human because he's more human sized.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Jeez, 6'9".
Yeah.
Sorry, I like forget that people can be above 6 feet. Like, I don't believe it.
I think my cap is kind of like 6'5".
Like, I know it's a thing. Like, I definitely have relatives that are over 6 feet, but like, really?
Yeah. They're all so tall.
Wow. That's crazy. Like, I see them, I'm just like, there's no way you're not like a mutant of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're the mutants, and that's why we're like shorter.
I'm 5'2". Technically, I am average size. Thank you very much.
I thought I was average size. I'm 5'4".
I'm on the small side of average, but I refuse to be called petite.
That's funny. So, if you haven't guessed yet, we are talking about the film Prey, which is the newest movie in the Predator franchise. It is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, starring Amber Midthunder. And yeah, it's I think it's one of the first films actually, definitely like action based and like horror, sci-fi, whatever, to be an all-indigenous cast. And I say that by saying like the cast are people that have names, because I think we'll find out later that there are some like Frenchmen, but there's only one of them that has a name. A story that revolves around Naru, who is played by Amber Midthunder. She's a skilled Comanche warrior, and she's trying to prove herself as a hunter. She finds herself having to protect her people from a vicious humanoid alien that hunts humans for sport, as well as from French fur traders who are attacking her people and destroying the buffalo they rely on for survival. So that's a quick synopsis of the film. Yeah, I guess before we get into it, is there any like movie news or gossip that you want to talk about, just like in the sphere of movies?
One big thing that I have absolute feelings on is the Batgirl movie that was shelved because it was not good. Essentially, DC Warner Brothers filmed this whole thing, spent millions of dollars on it, and then decided that because the test screenings didn't come back good, they would just shelve it. They wouldn't release it. No one would see it. The director doesn't even get access to it. And they're counting it as a tax write-off. Despite the fact.
What? Like, yeah. Why?
That
doesn't make sense to me.
This is coming from two studios who have a history of refilming. Making bad movies, yes. And refilming those bad movies. Just look at Justice League and then the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Seriously?
Morbius, which was absolute dumpster fire of a movie until the memes took over. It's still a dumpster fire movie, but then the memes took over. It's a bad superhero movie. That's all there is to say about it.
Come on. Like, they were like, oh, the ratings are not great. And it was like, bro, were you expecting good ratings? Like, in the first place? Again, you made Justice League and then you released it again.
Not just Justice League. They did Suicide Squad, which tanked so horribly they had to remake it and then put the in the beginning to make it seem just slightly different. Yeah, so this is still once again coming from studios whose highest grossing superhero movie is actually that's not true. I don't know the actual gross numbers, but review wise at least, most people absolutely love Wonder Woman. Both 1 and 2 did fantabulously, and woman-led superhero movie. Both period pieces, which do cost more to film.
Yeah.
So a bigger money pit, a bigger money, expenditure. Both recouped their budgets and made money. Meanwhile, they're out there making bad movies, and then the one movie too that they haven't released that has had so much drama. Is the Flash movie with Ezra Miller.
Dude, literally.
And they're still going to release that movie, and they're even talking about
they? Yeah, because they gave him like an ultimatum of like, they can either go to like rehab.
He is in rehab
and like get their life together and stuff. Because that was I'm sorry, that was low key. I was like, what in the world is happening right now?
He went off the deep end.
I was like, what is Ezra Miller doing?
Yeah, he went.
And I was like I would send it to my like siblings, like every update I got, because I was just like, bro, what's happening right now? I was like, they are literally just going bonkers. So like it started with like really small things where it was like, oh yeah, they like got in a fight.
They choked someone out in one of the European countries a couple years ago. So before, I think that was before Justice League. Yeah. And then they had all the Hawaii incidences, and then he was grooming that young girl, and then he took her like hostage on a farm. I'm not entirely certain about that last update because every news
they definitely
media
said
something different. Yeah. But they were talking about even refilming that. At first, they said, we're not going to refilm it. It will cost far too much money. But then as they started going more off the rails, they were talking about using like CGI and stuff to just replace it with a different actor.
Oh my god, no, please don't do that.
But I didn't hear about the ultimatum, whether like if Ezra Miller went to therapy, they would still release their movie. with him. With
Well, it was
them
like
in
a
it.
3-pronged like thing. They were like, oh, if they go to therapy, we'll consider like releasing it. They have to like commit to like actually like getting like going to rehab and doing like the full program if they're gonna continue like to release the movie. And then it was like, if they don't, they either won't release it or they'll like pull their name from it.
Interesting. I wish they made The Flash their tax write-off movie instead of Batgirl, because they would have absolute justification to.
Yeah, they would.
And part of it is, there's always going to be that voice in the back of your head wondering, like, oh, is it because it's a female superhero movie? Because
I know, and it's like, yes, Ezra Miller's non-binary, but like they play Barry Allen as a man.
they do.
So
That, and anytime DC particularly, Marvel definitely gets it too, but DC, it seems to be worse, makes any type of female superhero, they just get shit on
yeah.
because of the toxic fan base.
Dude, they're so bad.
I actually got to work for DC at Comic-Con. I got to work in their booth. I got to work some of their events during Comic-Con and their panels. And I never went a single day when I didn't get some guy coming up to me in full like DC merch with my staff pass, even staff on my shirt, handing stuff out, like clearly working for DC. And they'd come up to me and they'd try to like test my knowledge on the DC comic books. And I'm actually proud of myself because, well, I'm proud of myself because I answered them all correctly. But to be fair, they were also very easy questions.
Wow.
And they were just trying to test me to see if I was like some type of fake fan. And I kind of
Like,
wanted.
why?
Well,
Why does it matter?
I'm looking at this person. I'm like, and I held my tongue so often, but I wanted to just be able. I wanted to say, like, we are both at a convention for comic book nerds. Does it matter what we think of each other? Can we not just enjoy this?
Like, take your freaking grab bag and go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But
well, so
so also, I mean, like I said, Marvel gets the same thing. Captain Marvel saw a lot of bad reviews and bad things coming out of it. Typically
yeah.
from males.
She-Hulk right now is getting review bombed
That's right.
too.
They actually, I saw someone had a really good take that I'm gonna pare it back, and I wish I could remember their tag, their social media tag, but essentially, they were saying that one of the big concerns that men have right now is that everyone knows how hard it is to be a woman, especially now after the Me Too movement.
Well, apparently not, because I definitely had an argument with a dude like a couple months ago.
Well, that's the
who
thing.
thought men had it worse.
That's the thing. What people don't realize is a lot of these movies and TV shows aren't just for the people who are watching inclusive movies, who are talking to their girlfriends, their sisters, their moms, females in their life. They're not just people who listen to the other side. These are targeting people who are honestly just young. Because they're superhero movies. Superheroes have always usually been targeted at a younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at young movies, or young TV shows, the first thing I tend to think of are after-school specials.
Yeah.
And the lessons that were taught in, oh gosh, what's the family movie with the Olsen twins? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Mary-Kate and Ashley?
Yes.
That was the Olsen twins, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
But they both played the little girl, Michelle.
Oh, Full House.
Full House, thank you. I can't believe I forgot that.
I was like, which movie are you talking about?
No, the
The one
TV
where they go
show.
to Paris?
No, I like that one. But Full House talked about a lot of struggles. They talked about drug struggles. They talked about growing pain struggles, hormones, puberty, and that was mostly a family of girls that they were raising. And you saw a lot of those echoed again in
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World, Saved by the Bell. Then you saw it again echoed in Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of aging myself here, but after that, I stopped watching a lot of those after-school specials. But you can't tell me that it's not going to be argued again and again. Like, these are shows and movies that are going to be targeting people who haven't seen this stuff before, who haven't had the chance to listen to it. So it's not that they're trying to beat a dead horse, it's that they're trying to educate the people who haven't already had that education.
Yeah, because it's like, they're not going to get it in schools.
No.
We can't get anything in schools that actually matters.
Yeah. Schools are very limited nowadays on what they are allowed to teach.
Which is
disappointing.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So it's when people argue about whether something's too liberal or too woke, I think they need to look at why it's being said.
Yeah.
And not where it's being said.
Yeah. I'm also just confused to like, why is it too liberal / woke? Like, what's the problem?
You're stating a fact. That's like saying the blue sky is too woke. Like, she was just stating a fact. They spent maybe 5 seconds on the matter and then moved on.
Yeah, like I don't understand why that's a bad thing.
I don't understand why they're spending so much effort and anger and emotion over 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The 5 seconds where she's like, I'm a woman, I deal with this all the time.
Yeah. I have to deal with condescending men all the time and catcallers, yeah.
She's like, I could literally die, which is why I literally have to control my anger all the time, which is why I am significantly better at it than you.
Yeah.
Which I was living for, and I was like, dude, really? Like, they're going off about that? Guy.
What I liked was they showed it in the beginning, with the guys catcalling her at the bar, outside the bar.
Yeah, and with the stupid guy in the office.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
That's like, you should change the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I think you should let me deliver it. Like, why should he deliver it? Just because he's a man? Like, dude. The person who is presenting the case is typically the one who presents the closing arguments. Like, Legally Blonde didn't do that, but Legally Blonde is a national treasure and should not be criticized.
Period.
But yeah, I mean, typically, like, it made it seem as if she's the one presenting the case, therefore she should be the one to present the closing argument. So the fact that guy just wanted to step in and grab the glory at the last second was too much.
Like men want to do all the time?
Yeah, which is
I'm sorry, like men have done all the time? Like, bro. Literally so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I definitely watched that episode, and I'm excited to watch I'm actually kind of excited to watch the next one, because I didn't hate it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the, like, newer things that Disney owns, the, like, pilot episodes have been kind of boring. At least, like, to me. Like, they're kind of slow. Watching this one, I was like, oh, this is fun.
That's, I think that's just because everything for them right now is just so formulaic.
Oh my god, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, everything's a formula for them. Everything kind of has the same tone. I think one of the reasons that She-Hulk, this first episode, in my opinion, was one of the better first episodes, is because they were establishing a new tone.
Yeah. I think it's also Maybe because she's older than a lot of the other ones. Like, a lot of the other ones have been, like, kid heroes.
The only thing I can think of right now is Miss Marvel. Because
I think I'm thinking of the Hawkeye one.
Oh, I forgot
I mean, that's
about
kind
that
of a
one.
lie. That's kind of a lie.
She's younger. I think she's supposed to be college age because she got kicked out of college.
Hmm.
But yeah, she's younger. Miss Marvel's younger. Then you had Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're older. They're established.
Which honestly, okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, people slept on that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That one actually told, like, I'm not, like, I think I've told a lot of people this. Like, I love Black Panther and what it's done for, like, Black people in the Black community and everything, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier actually showcased more of just what it's actually like to be Black in America.
Yeah.
And I, like, they didn't shy away from it. They actually talked about it. They had the scenes where he gets mistaken for being a criminal when he's literally next to a wanted criminal, and he is literally a superhero that has been on TV and everywhere, and they're like, oh shoot, sorry man, I didn't know it was you. I was about to shoot you though. Like, that literally is a scene that happens, and he's like, are you joking?
Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure that they've showed literally every other Marvel hero out in public getting recognized almost instantly. That was actually part of Hawkeye. He couldn't even sit in the theater without someone recognizing him. So, yeah, that's a very good point.
But anyway, back to what we were saying about She-Hulk.
Oh, I can't even remember at this point. She's older. And they were establishing a new tone, which I think helped with the change of that first episode, where it was funnier, it was more engaging.
Yeah, I think they actually marketed it as a comedy. Or, like, put it as part of the genre is comedy. Like, it's in technically the comedy genre.
How did they...
Whereas, like, the other ones are just action adventure.
Oh, even Miss Marvel? Because that was, in my opinion, that was pretty funny.
It was funny. I honestly don't remember.
Because that one hit more towards home for me. Because I'm half Syrian. So, while she's Pakistani, a lot of the cultural... beats hit for me, especially the food. The food is very similar, and I don't know if it's just because I know more of that culture or similar culture that I found it more funny. But if I had been asked to label it, I would have labeled that as comedy.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I'm interested, though, to see how they take the rest of She-Hulk, because one of the biggest concerns that people have had is how they tell the story in all these TV shows now, where it's not each episode is its own story. It's each episode is part of a larger story. So the whole season is essentially an 8-hour movie instead of 8 different stories. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that about this one, where, like, it ended on a way where you can, like, it actually ended on a good bubble of, like, okay, we told the full story, and now you get, like, a glimpse at what it is now, but, like, if that was it, you technically didn't need any more to, like, understand that she was the Hulk and everything.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
But we'll just have to wait and see. New episode comes out soon.
Tomorrow.
So fingers crossed. Yeah, tomorrow. So fingers crossed that they keep up the momentum.
Yeah. All right. I guess we've talked a lot about other movies, so maybe we should start talking about Prey.
Yes, for sure. Because Prey was, like I said, Prey was a good movie. I enjoyed it far more than I thought I would.
Yeah. I was surprised. Like I thought I'm not gonna lie, I like sat down to try and watch it like a couple times, like just to press play. And I was like, I feel like I'm not in the right mindset. Like I feel like I'm gonna be like bored or like they're gonna do stupid things and I'm just gonna be angry the whole time. And I don't wanna be angry. But then I finally like sat there and watched it and I was like, oh, I'm actually so invested in this.
So I don't watch movies, or I tend not to like, should I say, I tend not to like movies that are action for action's sake. So I tried very hard to make an effort to watch this movie earlier in the evening because I have very thin walls at my apartment and I tend to just crank the sound on all my movies. So I was afraid that I was going to get like a midnight wall banging from my neighbor saying, turn down the movie. But because they focused more on just the plot, the character development, and just the struggle to survive, they didn't have a lot of those explosions. They didn't have a lot of just like the pure fighting of throwing people through trees and having it splinter into 1,000 different pieces. Because that's how physics work.
Yeah, no, I think that was definitely. I watched the English version, but there is a version of this where you can watch it with the Comanche dub, which I've heard is awesome. And like, I honestly might go back and watch that too because why not?
Yeah,
like who? Like why not? Literally,
especially if you have the time.
Oh yeah, like support.
Mm-hmm.
But like. I thought it was so much more of a survival movie. And then when I was watching it, I honestly couldn't like remember the last survival movie that I'd like watched.
Oh, that's a good point. I've watched a couple though.
Have there been any recently?
Streaming. Straight to streaming.
Oh wait, you know what? I take that back. I watched that one with Angelina Jolie in it. The fire one.
That's a good one.
Which I thought that was fun.
That might have been like the second or third to last that I've seen. It's survival movies is kind of like my mom's bread and butter. So if I'm ever, spending time with her and we don't have anything to do, we'll pull up Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah, no, I was just like, I don't remember the last time I saw like a survivor movie, especially with a woman in it. And then I was like, I'm generally not a big fan of like survivor movies. Probably because the majority of them are just like white dudes surviving in a place that like other people have just like lived in,
Uh-huh.
like literally it'll be like, oh, this is like some like native land, and then they're like, we have to struggle to survive, and it's like, oh, woe is him. It's like, dude, this is literally someone's home. Like, bro, maybe you should stop being such a dick. It's like, come on, dude, like, really? So yeah, but that's definitely something they didn't do with this movie, and I really enjoyed just how like, yeah, they shot it as in like their home, and like everything that happens to her in the beginning of the movie, like before she technically like notices like, oh, there is like bad guy and I have to find bad guy, otherwise he will get, people I love. Like before that happens, she goes through a series of just like survival things, and they all end up being relevant to how she defeats the predator in the end, which I really loved. Because that doesn't happen often. Like, a lot of times it's just, like, sheer luck, like, oh, we just happened to fall off a cliff at this time.
They set that up pretty well,
I just happened to have, like a bale of snow fall and kill the mountain lion before it ate me, kind of a thing.
Yeah. They set that up pretty well, though, and I really like how they did it, because it was fairly subtle, in my opinion, where they're trying to convince her to give up hunting. Not because she's a girl at all, not because she's a woman, but because she's just not good at it. That's what they say. And of course she's not good at it because they're not training her, which no one takes to mention. But it's
I
the
think
one
there's
thing
an element too of like, oh, she's like a hunter, or not a hunter, she's like a healer. And they're like, well, if you're like our healer, then we can't like lose you. You're too valuable.
I wouldn't so much say that they don't want to lose her. I would say the fact that from what I remember from my schooling days is that medicine women tend to be very respected. And one of the people that they just revere, typically. So I think it was more of just trying to keep her safe because they knew that she had so many talents. And once again, not so because she was a girl.
Yeah, like, and I think this also is another reason why I liked it a lot more than I would have thought that I was going to, because like I did anticipate the fact like, oh, she's going to be surrounded by guys at some point and they're going to like make fun of her. But her brother actually kind of stood up for her and was like, she's actually a really good tracker and she's a healer, and we kind of need both of those things if we're gonna do this. So maybe don't just write off my sister like that. And then she's like, okay, like there was a little bit of like a bite to that, but like I get it, thank you.
Yeah.
Which I really liked their relationship, and that a lot of the like it came full circle.
Yeah, he was a very good brother. And that was also like a very sibling-esque relationship that they had. When she falls asleep during his story, and then he's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna steal your bird, and then he shoots it down.
And she's like, okay, well, I was gonna wait for it to circle back, but that's fine, you can wait across the river to go get your bird.
Yeah, they keep trying to one-up each other.
They were funny. I liked them.
Because I definitely do that with my siblings.
The line about the beaver literally cracked me up. I like actually laughed out loud. Was when the French guys have them like tied around the tree, and the predators like going ham on their asses, and they're just like dying. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, we have to get out of this like trap. Like I have to figure out how to get these ropes like uncut." And she finds the bear trap and pulls it near them, and she starts telling him the story about the beaver. And she's like, yeah, one time you remember when there was that flood? There was a beaver that got stuck and it knew it was gonna die, and so it chewed its own leg off in order to get free. And he's like, literally, why are you telling me that while you have a bear trap right next to my arm? And he's like
That's
freaking
right.
out, and then she snaps the rope and goes, I'm smarter than a beaver. I was like,
and she was smarter than him too.
I was like, that was a good one, thank you so much. Loved it.
Yeah, I like that because you very much know at that point in time that she's going to survive. They're both going to survive because that's how stories go. But then at the same time, they put just enough tension in that scene to where you're like, well, we know she has to survive, but does he have to survive?
I know, I was like, he can't die until later if he is gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, if he's gonna die, it's gonna be like the final showdown, like right before that, and like the motivation, which it ended up being, of course. But yeah, like, I thought it was interesting actually, because there was someone that I can't even remember, probably like on TikTok or something, where someone was talking about like the movie, and they're like, yeah, I just feel like we didn't need the French trappers. And I was like, you did though, because you needed them to just be like, especially if you're hunting and it's a hunter movie, you definitely needed to have another like outside predator that is supposed to be like top of the food chain. So like they had guns and they have all of their like traps and stuff that's not like wood based or like organic materials. And so that would be like technically above in the food chain than like our main characters. And so for the predator to like take them out makes it like, oh crap, that's gonna be a really hard kill, we have to figure out how to do this a different way, kind of a thing. And I was like, if they didn't have that, then like the movie would have been literally so short.
That's a interesting way to take it, because I did not take that way at all. The way that I took it was because it is a period piece. I figured that they just wanted to address the fact of like what could guns do at this point. And
Yeah,
could a gun take it down, which obviously it can't. Assuming you once again haven't seen any of the Predators, because this is a prequel.
Oh yeah, do guns work in any of the other ones? I can't even remember.
You would know more than I would.
You're right. I don't remember.
But
Because like even like the Predator in this one doesn't have as advanced technology because it is a prequel. Like I know in like the other ones, they definitely have like a lot more. Like they have like freaking lasers. Like they're crazy.
that's what I've heard. But I feel like in order for this to have any type of happy resolution, they'd have to scale the alien to the time period. So
Yeah.
I think they did right there.
So that'd be like really unfair. And
yeah,
it would be like not as satisfying for them to win. You know, like if
it would feel like a
like
cheat.
that's unfair. Like there's no way they would have actually pulled that off. Which they definitely made the way that she ended up getting the best of him super believable. And I loved how they did it with it being a culmination of like all of the lessons that she herself had to learn how to survive out there, and then using it to ultimately get him.
Yeah. Well, and they foreshadow it several times throughout the movie too, where she's watching the 3 red dots, the triangle.
Yeah.
And she's connecting the dots in her own mind.
Literally.
On how they work. And she's paying attention, just like she did with the beaver trap. And with what she did with the yellow flower, how it lowered her body temperature.
She was like, oh,
she
it's gonna
sees
cool his
something.
blood.
Yeah, she sees something and then figures out how to use it to her benefit because she's smart, which they've already established, and they just keep reestablishing.
Yeah.
So that, as you said, it all culminates into her taking him down.
Mm-hmm. And even down to the point of like when she's like, oh, they don't see us as a threat. Like they never make her seem non-threatening. Like she definitely seems as good as everyone else at like throwing an axe, killing like the rabbits, getting like food and making like shelter and like supplies and healing people. And like even like they have an entire fight scene where she just like owns that one guy that's like, no, you can't go find your brother, I'm gonna do. Like they literally had to like double team her in order to like get her.
Yeah.
And so like it was cool because she was capable of doing all the things. They didn't like underestimate her ability. They just didn't want her to go and be so dangerous and like be in such dangerous situations and stuff. And so for her to be like, oh, they don't see us as a threat is like, oh, they don't see like all of us, like like all of us as a threat, which means that we can survive because it's an actual hunter. It likes the thrill of the hunt. Yeah. And she like tells her brother that. And dude, that death scene, that got me. When he's like, this is as far as I go. He thinks I'm the threat. He literally attacked the thing just so that he would get to seen as the thing. And I was like, bro, that's so sad.
I feel like it was a cop-out death. I felt like it was cheesy.
I didn't want him to die. I was like, bro, y'all both could have lived.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Because like not only have they established that she's smart, they've established that he is smart and not obviously as smart as
and
her
listens.
That, but like he's very competent. Sorry, what was that?
He like listens because he caught the lion because of her plan that she had told him earlier.
Yeah, so he's smart enough to know when he's been outsmarted. But they show his competence with the eagle, with the lion. He's made war chief. So there's a history of him doing very well that they just don't show because it's all off camera. And so for him to just have him die so that...
Just sacrifice like that? Like, okay, homie, you didn't have to die.
No.
I agree.
They did it so just her could be the hero. There definitely could have been other ways that they could have just made her the hero and have him still live. So
yeah, like he could have just like lost a leg. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what the Predator doesn't leave survivors. From the little that I know of the series, is I think, you know, he's killed everyone. Like that's his thing.
Yeah, I think he like took the legs of those two French guys, but like they were definitely gonna die regardless.
Yeah. But there's still ways to have him survive. Like he could have been knocked out and she could have dragged him somewhere and given him like the yellow flower.
Yeah, like,
or he could
I
have
was disappointed.
Yeah, or he could have brought back 2 horses so they can both ride off together.
Okay, them fighting the thing together though was so cool. Like,
yeah,
the choreography, high key, was great.
Yes, between the 2 of them,
it was so cool.
I hated her parkour. I didn't like it. I don't think that made any sense to me, how she was running. I feel like she could have gotten just as where she needed to go just as fast, if not quicker, without it. I think they added that to look cool. And I mean, it certainly looked
They probably
cool.
did. Like, yeah, she looked awesome. And I also had the question of like, is it necessary to be doing the parkour? Like, the sliding made sense because like, yeah. You're going to go down hills and like, you know, tree branches and stuff. And I was like, but like, sure, I guess. Like, I think one of them made sense to me later was when she like kicked off the wall to do the like arrow, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, nice.
There were definitely times it made sense. But when she's like parkouring to run just as fast as the horse, that didn't make sense. Because first of all, there's no way she can run as fast as a horse. And second of all, if she's wasting all the time jumping from tree to tree, she's not going to run as fast as a horse.
Yeah. But the fight scene when she goes to save her dog,
yeah,
I was so nervous the whole time. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, if this dog dies, I swear to God.
I think this might be, there's one other movie, I can't remember it. But there's one other movie where the dog doesn't die, and literally every other movie, every movie made that has a dog in it, the dog dies.
It's so sad.
Oh, here we go. I remembered it, of course. 101 Dalmatians. Although they're trying to literally kill the dogs the whole movie, so
they're literally trying to kill the dogs. Oh my goodness.
So I'm so sorry. I'm trying to find that Cliff movie. You can cut that out.
I will.
But yeah, the dog always dies in movies. Like that's a trope. That's a movie trope.
I know.
The
I was
dog
about to
dies.
be pissed. I was like, this dog is too good and too smart to die, so y'all better not let him die. And then he lived, and I was very happy about that. I was like, if the brother's gonna die, then like the dog can't.
It's so funny that you mentioned how smart the dog is. Because one of those behind the scene things that ended up coming up for me is that they specifically adopted this dog for this movie. It's not a Hollywood dog. It wasn't a pre-trained dog. All the training that they did for it was specifically for this movie because they wanted this specific breed, which is the Carolina dog breed. It's a wild dog breed that was actually around during that time.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah. So, a little fun fact trivia there.
Should give him a little Hollywood paw print.
Mm-hmm. That would be absolutely.
Did they have adorable. That for like animals in movies? They should.
I don't know. I feel like if here we go. Here's another dog that lived. Toto from
The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Thank you. If there was any Hollywood dog that has a paw print, it's probably Toto.
You're right. Yeah.
He actually got paid more. Toto, the dog, got paid more than Dorothy, the actress for Dorothy. According to Hollywood legend.
That kind of makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because, like, Hollywood would pay a dog more than a woman.
If you ever want to go down, like, a rabbit hole of bad luck on a movie, there's certainly been worse. But some of the behind-the-scenes things for Wizard of Oz is absolutely crazy. Like, you have the famous one that most people know about with the actress who played the Bad Witch. She caught on fire. Yeah, I guess
I didn't know that.
Part of it was the paint, the green paint that she was wearing. Oh, which was also super toxic to her. Made her really sick. And then you also have the Hollywood legend that in the background of one of the scenes, you see someone like committing suicide. Like, you see them like hanging themselves from the trees. Yeah, so there's a lot of behind the scenes things that are absolutely crazy.
And it's not even a horror movie. Why is it so cursed? Maybe it is a horror movie.
Yeah, well, and maybe. But it's if you ever want to know more about movies, look at the behind the scenes. Look at the trivia, look at the superstitions of Hollywood, because you'll find some absolute wild stories.
Dude, that's crazy.
I don't think I've heard any about this one, so Prey is so far a safe movie.
Yeah, there's no curses here.
Not
if
yet.
anything, the white guys were cursed for sure, because I'm so glad every single one of them died. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I was like when I first saw the French dudes, I was like, dang it. Like I knew they were coming, and like I knew they were gonna have to, like, you know, be scary and like villains and stuff like that, because like obviously they're Frenchmen and traitors and they're colonizers, and you know, and I was like, dang, like they're gonna have to like do bad things to our main character. And then I was like, they just better get it though. Like, they better get theirs. And they very much did. I actually really liked how they depicted the Frenchmen, because I watch everything with subtitles, and I thought it was super funny that they never translated any of the French.
I know. Okay, so first off, I thought the translator was going to survive because he looked very reluctant to be there and to be a part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, he's the only one with kind of like a tan.
Yeah. Yeah. But he ended up dying too, which I was okay with.
Yeah.
But the not translating the French did kind of bother me because I'm just so curious. I wanted to know everything that was being said, and I'm sure I could find some type of translation online.
You probably could, yeah.
Yeah.
But I liked it because they do that to, like, they often do that to brown people in movies. Like, like, they'll do that to people in, like, television shows. Like, it'll be like, oh, he's from Mexico, and they'll be, like, speaking Spanish instead of just, like, saying what it is he's saying. And I was just like, dude, that's so funny that they did that in this movie, that they, like, were like, French, like, speaking French, and they, like, had, like, the French words and whatnot, but they never translated any of it. But anytime that that any of the Comanche folks, like, were speaking their language, they would give you, like, what they said meant in the subtitles as well. So they would have it in the Comanche, and then they would have it in English, like, next to it. And I was like, wait, that's so funny. And I loved it.
I think it added to the authenticity of the film.
Yeah.
Because the main characters didn't know what they were saying. The brother and the sister had no clue what they were saying.
Exactly.
So
I was like,
we're not
so
supposed to know
nice.
what they're saying. Yeah.
And I think it was also kind of fun too, because, like, the way that the Frenchmen were like shown in this film was very similar to how they would portray indigenous people in, like, cartoons and stuff, where they're, like, overly like they were like overly like loud, and they took up a lot of space, and they were like dirty and grungy and like savage, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's so funny that they portrayed the white guys like that. Like, thank you so much, because like I was really hoping that if we had to see white people, that would happen. Because like I always think of like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, when they have like the like indigenous folks of the island that he gets like stuck on, and they just like they make them seem like stupid, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's so dumb. Like, this guy literally is an idiot. Like, he's the one that got himself trapped on an island. These guys live here and have been living here and surviving for how long? Enough to have multiple generations of people. So why are we making them seem stupid? I don't know. That's a dumb trope to me, and I'm glad that this movie did not have that.
They did portray that in several different ways, like you said, with the grunginess, with the fact that they were wearing furs, and they were wearing furs in a way that made them look animalistic, because because the natives weren't wearing them in that way either.
Yeah.
And then at the river, when she captures that one Frenchman, like when he's by the river, trying to like drink water.
Yeah.
It was very much like you would see a scared animal do.
Yeah, literally. He's like lapping the water.
So yeah, I think that was a good reversal of roles.
Very nice touch. Very nice touch. I loved that. I think the other thing that I thought was really cool. Hang on, let me pull up my notes so I can remember exactly what it was that I wrote down. I really liked that even though the Frenchmen had guns and like different technology, they never made Naru and Taibei seem like they had like primitive technology. Like, even though it was like organic stuff like wood and like vines that were like tied together, or like different plants that they used, like, just because there were different types of technology compared to the Predator, like, none of the technology seemed like it was any better or more dangerous in the terms of like how they were being used. And Tabe and Naru, like, with their stuff and their ingenuity, were just as much as a threat, and it was like super believable that they would beat either one of them, like the Frenchman or the Predator.
I think it helps that they showed Naru elevate her axe by attaching
Which,
the
honestly,
rope to it.
my gosh, that was so sick.
Yeah. That's really smart. Like, you ask me to improve an axe, and I can't tell you how. Aside from maybe like putting another axe head on the opposite side and making it more dangerous. So
it's a double axe.
Exactly. Which I'm pretty sure already exists. So
And I was like, this girl's got like freaking like a whip nunchuck, but it's like an axe. Like, dude, that's crazy. And
Absolutely.
then she has it to where she can pull it back and catch it.
Yeah.
It's also a boomerang? I'm sorry, what?
The boomerang. In a way it is. But then not only does she improve on the weapons that she has, she uses the other weapons. She uses the pistol. She learns that very, very quickly. And then she also learns how to use the helmet.
Yeah, like, she figures that out and she uses it. It's really cool that she literally learns from every obstacle she's up against, like, even down to the quicksand that she gets stuck in the beginning. Like, she even uses that in the end. She like pulls the Predator into the pit of quicksand so that he can't like get away at the end.
When they first introduced the quicksand, I like, my childhood fears unlocked.
I know. I always think about the fact that there is quicksand that exists and I've never encountered it, and I'm like, I literally would die.
Quicksand
they
is
literally had us watching everything having to do with like it was like in every freaking cartoon they were like, oh, quicksand, that's a very bad thing, watch out for the quicksand, like in the
you expect
Backyardigans and
to
Tom and
see it
Jerry
around every corner.
I know, and I'm like, bro,
forget that the floor is lava, the floor is quicksand.
the floor is quicksand. Yeah, no, I was like I had that exact thought when she was in the quicksand. I was like, oh my god, that's quicksand. And then I just like had, you know, one of those like flashbacks of every time as a child I saw quicksand.
Yeah.
On the screen.
Well, it's a bog. And bogs actually do work that way. Yeah, where one wrong step and you're gone. And, you know, it's also thick and heavy that it is hard to get yourself out of.
Yeah.
I honestly had hoped that it would kill the predator, that would be what took him down. Because he didn't have, that we knew of, he didn't have a way to free himself. So the fact that I think he just freed himself because he was so tall was kind of like, all right, you know, whatever, you're an alien, I can believe that, sure, why not?
Did he free himself from it? I thought she like axed his ass and like pulled him
well, at
into
one
it.
point he disappeared under the bog and then he came out of the bog.
Oh, I think he was pulling on her.
I can't remember, to be honest. I feel like I remember him standing up though.
That's yeah. I mean, 6'9".
Yeah.
How do bogs like that work? Do they just not have a bottom?
I think it's like the ocean.
They just like keep going. Like I don't.
Well, it depends on the area you're in. And I don't know. I don't think that they so much as have a current in a bog, but I mean, like, you've been to the beach, right?
Like, could
where
you
you're walking
feasibly
out.
just like reach the bottom of a bog?
Oh yeah, there's got to be a bottom. I mean, I know there's a bottom with quicksand.
There is? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is so mind-boggling to me right now, but it's just like, yeah, he's 6'9". I would actually believe he probably like just was like, oh, here's the bottom. And just like pushed himself back up.
Yeah. That's how I remember the scene. Is that he was just tall enough to like free himself essentially. But then if he was, I suppose it doesn't make sense that he did get sucked under. Oh, well, in the first place.
Yeah. Because I just remember she like gets him in the quicksand. Oh, you know what? I think it's that he was standing on top of it and was sinking. Because he's standing there, but he's like struggling to get out. And then because he's struggling is what's making him sink like lower.
Yeah.
And then part of his struggling was activating the like arrow helmet that she had in the tree.
Uh-huh.
That shot through him.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, yeah. That's what he like obviously got shot through the head.
Watch it right now.
He like gets shot through the head and then he slumps forward and then he's dead.
Okay. How did she get the head without sinking?
The helmet? I think she shot it off of him.
No, the head, because she brings the head back.
What? Oh, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe that's just a fluke.
She got herself out of it the first time. She could get herself out of it again.
She can get his head out. She actually went the extra mile to kill him in the bog and then pull him out of the bog so that she could take the head back.
Well, she had to in order to finish her
trial.
her trial. Yeah, I wrote the name down. The Kutamiya.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, that was that actually was kind of great how they ended it. I like that it was a very realistic ending. It wasn't just like, hey, I killed the thing, we're good. She's like, guys, we gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we gotta go. They killed a lot of buffalo. There are French people just, like, real close that are gonna keep killing our food source. Like, we gotta go.
That's a really good point. I didn't that because that surprised me too when I was watching it, because I fully expected her to be like, here's the head, I took care of them, the Frenchmen are dead, he's dead, we don't have to worry about anything, because that's what you expect out of a movie is I took care of the problem, so we're good to go. But she's smarter than me apparently, and
the beaver.
yeah, and said, hey, we need to leave, it's not safe here, more Frenchmen are going to come, if one alien's here, more aliens are going to come, so
probably
let's get the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a very fitting ending, and I liked it.
Same. And it felt very, very deserved at that point.
Yeah. I was like, thank goodness. Like, I was, like, relieved that the movie was, like, over, but in the sense of I had so much anxiety through the movie, not that it was, like, a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was just waiting for some, like, act of racism or sexism, like, real bad, you know? Like, I was just waiting for it.
Oh. I feel like that's something that I expected going in, but then once I saw how, like, pretty much how good of a brother he was, I forgot about it. Because once again, it wasn't that he was saying she couldn't be a hunter because she was a girl. It was she can't be a hunter because she's not good at it.
She's not good at hunting. They're like, why do you want to hunt so bad? You're, like, not good at it.
Yeah. Well, once again, she's not good at it.
Which is such an interesting, like, plot line to have.
Well, she's not good at it because no one trained her. Like, no one wants to train her. So she trained herself, and the fact that she is as good as she even is a testament, once again, to how smart she is.
Yeah, they're literally just like, you don't need to know how to hunt.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these other skills. Why?
Yeah.
Such an interesting way. Like, because it normally would be something like, no, it is against everything for a woman to be able to do this thing because we are men. Stuff like that. So it was just like, oh,
even just out of jealousy.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone who is just absolutely perfect at everything. And then I think, all right, here's one thing that I know I'm perfect at, and I've never seen them do it. So at least this is the one thing I can be better at them.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, they do it, and they're perfect, and you're just like, gosh, dang it.
And, like, that's a trope, too, of, like, when there are single leading women in action movies. I think we talked about it with, like, Atomic Blonde when we reviewed that one, but, like, they often will make the woman, like, invincible for, like, no reason.
Yeah.
And it's like,
generally,
okay.
Yeah, they call that trope Mary Sue, where essentially the female actor is able to just do everything.
Yeah.
And has essentially no personality, but they avoided that very easily by giving her a personality, by giving her things that she's bad at and things that she gets better at, and they give her just a multifaceted. From them,
and it's so good. What is
they give her a great character arc, and then they leave the rest of it open too, so that should they, I don't think they should come back to Prey. I fear that they wouldn't do it as a good service.
Like if they made a second, like with the same like actress and like character.
Yeah. Just
because
I
can't see that.
They've already got 7 movies. They got 7 movies, including the spin-offs.
So many Predator movies.
Because they just want as much money as possible from the whole thing.
I'm shook. We can't get Batgirl, but we can get 7 Predator movies. Like at least now we actually have a Predator movie that's worth it.
Agreed. I'm willing to watch at least the first 2 Predator movies. The first one, knowing that it's an 80s action movie. 80s action movies are cheesy and bombastic, and
they're fun.
Yeah, super fun to watch.
Plus,
the second
like, it's
one,
Arnold Schwarzenegger. know why, but it's just so entertaining watching him do things.
Yeah.
Just knowing that he was also
because he's a huge character.
Yeah, and he's literally a giant person.
Yeah.
Just like, what? That guy's just like walking around? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one, just because I feel like that would be a good way to end it. And then action movies typically don't get much better afterwards.
Yeah, Like, yeah.
If they make it that far. Usually they get a sequel and they call it good.
They get a sequel and it's literally so bad. So now it is time for the best segment, LOL FMF, Fuck, Marry, Friend Zone, where we take probably the most prominent men in the movie, because sometimes there aren't actually a lot of men, because we tend to review movies that don't have a lot of men. But as a nice like turn of the tables and play on the fact that the friend zone doesn't exist, we are going to choose which of the men we would fuck, marry, or friend zone. So in this movie, I mean, I'm not sure if we would consider the predator to be a man or not. So I'm gonna skip him.
That gets into a whole different genre of I'm not touching that.
He was very humanoid, but I'm not gonna go there. So we can do Tabe, the brother. There was Wasape. I think I'm saying that right. He was the one that she ends up getting into a fight with. That's kind of a dick. Yeah. And then I don't know, we could do the I guess kind of decent French guy, or the really gross one with the big beard.
I think the only other guy that she had like any type of meaningful connection with, if you want to call it that, would be the translator.
Yeah, that would be Raphael.
Do you want to do him? Because I feel like...
So, I mean, technically there's Itzy, who is the one that she saves with the lion, and then there's Puhi, which is the one that, like, when she's running through the field, he, like, pulls her down, and then they, like, try to trap the thing together. But, yeah, she probably has more screen time with Raphael. Yeah. So, we can do Tabe, Wasape, or Raphael.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, this is actually kind of difficult. Mainly... Actually, no, I think I got it.
Okay, you go first then.
I'll go first. We will screw off Raphael, friend zone Wasape, and then marry Tabe, Avi.
Oh God, it's probably gonna be the same for me. I flip flop though on Wasape and Raphael, just because even though Raphael was with the Frenchman, he at least helped her out. Like, he was willing to like bargain with her with the pistol. But I think overall, just fuck him, leave him, be done with him. Wasape was more useful, because he did try to fight. And he did take her semi-seriously. Like, enough to actually fight her and know when he was outmatched, because he had to pull in his friend.
He took her seriously enough to punch her.
Exactly. He didn't hold back. So he respected her
funny.
In a way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, what would you rate this film? Like, 10 being wouldn't make any changes, would watch it again. 5 being like, if it's on, sure, why not? And then 1 just being like, literally should never have released.
I would probably give it about a 6, maybe a 7, because if it was on and, I needed to keep myself occupied while, like, eating a meal, I'd watch it. But I don't think like if it was on and nothing else was on, I would watch it. I think that's when I would turn on like a streaming service. Just because if I'm not watching a streaming service, then I'm looking for something more fast paced or more engaging than the pacing for this movie. But it is a movie that I would recommend people watching, even if they don't like alien movies, even if they don't want to watch the Predator movies. I'd recommend it just because beyond that, it's a survival movie, and it is a standalone film. It could be taken as a standalone film.
Yeah, it does stand on its own very well. I think I'm probably in the same like realm, like I'll probably give it like a 7, just because like it is groundbreaking for film just to have this type of representation, and it's actually good representation, which is crazy because there's like so many bad representations, and like even in all of the bad representations there's still barely any representation.
I definitely give it an extra point for that.
And yeah, I would definitely recommend it to people. Even like it's like even this kind of movie isn't like my type of like go-to movie either, and like I would watch it again. I probably would want to watch it with other people though. I don't know if I'd just watch it if it. I would
do that. I would watch it again. I would watch it with other people if they hadn't seen it, and everyone was down to watch the movie, because that rarely happens. Yeah. Everyone can agree on a movie. But yeah, if enough people agreed to watch a movie, watch it again, I would have no trouble watching it again.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, let's do it. It's the best Predator movie out there. All right. So, I have to think a little bit because I honestly can't remember any movies that I've seen that are similar to this. So I'm gonna let you go first.
I do have 3. There's the obvious Alien, with Sigourney Weaver, female-led action movie against an alien that's about survival, where the female lead is smart. She knows what she's doing, and she uses that to her advantage. Stylistically, the next one I'd recommend is probably Mad Max.
You know what? Yeah.
Just because once again, it's a survival movie. It's a chase movie. Just the scenery, the cinematography, where they focus on the background almost as a character itself.
Yeah.
And it just adds to the plot. It adds to the thrill of will they make it, won't they make it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also with female action leads with supportive male co-stars. And then the last movie, if you want to watch a survival movie that's out in the wilderness, it's on Hulu. It's called The Ledge. And it's about these 2 girls who go camping, and they come across this group of guys, this very sinister group of guys. And one of the girls gets murdered, and the other has to survive through her wits alone, on the sheer face of El Capitan.
That sounds terrifying.
It's like, you're sitting on the edge of your seat wondering what's happening. The cinematography in it is beautiful. They use a lot of drone shots because they can and they should.
Yeah.
And
seems like the safest option,
most definitely.
If I'm going to be honest.
But it feels like you're right there with her. And it's just the gripping, will she make it, won't she make it?
Nice. All right. I'm definitely going to recommend that Angelina Jolie movie because I actually enjoyed that one. What was that? To all the ones who've wished me dead?
Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like a book
I
first.
think it was To All the Ones Who Wish Me Dead. Let me see.
Oh. It's just Those
Okay.
Who Wish Me Dead. It's a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'd recommend that one because it's pretty good action, really cool, like, survival stuff. I like it because she's not, like, a love interest, really, for anyone. And, like, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of nice seeing Angelina Jolie doing this again because she hasn't really done it since, like, Tomb Raider days,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, though. Just a female action hero.
I just really enjoyed
not,
it.
like, her B story isn't a love interest story.
Yeah. This may be kind of a stretch, but television, I think The Wilds would actually be a pretty good show to watch, especially the first season. All female leads. They actually have 2 indigenous cast members and characters that have episodes dedicated to, like, their experiences, which is pretty dope. And I mean, you should watch all of the other things that are by indigenous people. Definitely watch, like, Res Dogs, though. That one's really good. How many recommendations? I just gave 2.
Yes.
Didn't I? Technically, Res Dogs would be 3, but, like, I feel like there's another movie. I don't know why, but this movie also... I'm not sure if I recommend this movie or not, but I'm going to mention it. But the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider...
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the Angelina Jolie one.
Yeah, I've seen those ones, but I know the Alicia Vikander one was a lot more like the actual video game.
I think
like
they
the
might
more
be
recent video
remaking
game,
Tomb Raider
so
too.
it was a lot more like survival. Yeah, I think they're making a sequel. But yeah, I remember not hating it. I've only seen it once, but I do remember it being like a lot more like survival based than fantastical, like the Angelina Jolie ones. But yeah, if you guys enjoy talking about movies and you listen to us talk about movies and want to do more of it, you guys can definitely follow our Instagram at FemNoir Podcast. We are forming just a little community on Patreon pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. Hoping to have some really cool and fun things to do with you guys. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much again. Bye.
Bye.